On the Exposure Ninja channel, you might be used to us doing lots of fun business stuff like direct to consumer and e-commerce, looking at all the digital marketing like influencer marketing and all that cool stuff. But I hear you deep inside you're thinking, but what about the law firms? Well, today your prayers have been answered because honestly, truth be told, at Exposure Ninja, some of our best work has been done in the legal space. We are currently dominating one of the most competitive niches we've ever worked on in a particular city in the US with one of our legal clients. So we thought it would be fun, and I use that word loosely, to analyze some digital marketing from the legal sector. What we're gonna do is we're gonna test a new format today. We're gonna have our first ever digital marketing shootout where we pit 3 law firms against each other to find out who does the best digital marketing. So let's unveil the competitors. In the blue corner, we have Slater and Gordon. Now, if you study digital marketing or you are in the law world, then you will know Slater and Gordon. They are very aggressive marketers with a big visibility here in the UK. And in fact, if you search for a really broad term in a very competitive space like Solicitors London, which is the broadest term in the most competitive city we have in the UK, you will find them advertising to be top position in both the search ads and also in the map pack as well. So that's Slater and Gordon. In the other corner, we have an absolute legal gorilla. We have Kirkland & Ellis, the very first law firm to ever surpass $4 billion in revenue. They are widely considered to be the largest law firm in the world. So obviously, we would expect them to be doing some decent digital marketing. In the third corner of our triangle of digital marketing battles, we have a bit of a wild card because this isn't actually technically a solicitor's firm at all. We have National Accident Helpline. Now, strictly speaking, National Accident Helpline is a lead generation company because I don't think they actually employ solicitors. They just collect the leads and then they work with solicitors who actually, do the legal stuff behind it. Now, we wanted to include them because obviously, being a lead generation company, they are very, very heavily marketing, and that gives us a good kind of benchmark to aim for. So we're going to look at them in lots of different categories and assign who is going to be the winner in each category and then who's going to win overall. But the important thing of all of this is not just for solicitors firms to get stuff out of this. We, as the rest of the world, can look at this and learn important digital marketing lessons. So we're going to be drawing out the principles and key takeaways at all of the stages of this process. Okay, let's get cracking. Round 1, ding, ding, ding. Now, first up, we're going to analyze their websites. If you know Exposure Ninja and if you've been following us for a while, you will know I freaking love the National Accident Helpline website. There is so much about this website to love. For me, they get a straight up A for user journey, for conversion optimization. This is a masterpiece compared to most sites. Some of the key elements that I always like to point out, things like the credibility trigger. So the fact they use Trustpilot above the fold, the fact they have a very high number of reviews. Their user journey stuff is fantastic. There's always a very straightforward headline, which is really easy to understand with bags of credibility. And then it drives you through to a call to action, which is really straightforward and easy to understand, very low commitment. They're also normally conversion alternatives. So if you don't want to fill in the form, you can talk to them on the phone. So there's lots to love about this site. They've also got tons of information and they've got some great content on this site here. So here we are on the can I make a no win, no fee claim page. We can see that this is a really comprehensive page with loads and loads and loads and loads of information. We've got videos embedded as well. So it's not your typical legal firm website, which is why it does so well. So this is a really, really great site. Lots to love about this. And if every law firm site was like this, then that would be really, really special. But they are not. Exhibit A, Kirkland & Ellis. So, largest law firm in the world, we would expect them to have some decent digital marketing going on, right? Well, this is their website. It's really terrible. All I can say about this website is that they are clearly not relying on their digital marketing for much, if any, of that $4 billion in revenue. This website has almost no information. There is very, very few call to action. Yes, they do have sub pages. So here's their page for advertising, marketing and promotions law, but it's actually not about advertising, marketing and promotions. It's about advertising, marketing and promotions law. So it's incorrectly labeled. They've got some info here, but there are no calls to action whatsoever at any point. We don't have any of the credibility triggers that we might expect to see of a business this size. If we go back to their homepage, they've actually got no content on this homepage at all. It's this really weird scrolling thing which doesn't mention anything that they do or set the scene in any way whatsoever. They're also using the hilariously under-optimized page title Home on their homepage, which is frankly a joke. So if I was going to be generous, I'd give this website a D, but really, if this was in the old GCSE system, this would have a U. Ungraded, it's a washout. Okay, so let's take a look at Slater and Gordon then. Now for me, this is a law firm website that looks like a lead gen. So what do we mean by looks like a lead gen? Well, it's really accessible branding. It looks friendly, bright, and clean. So not your typical law firm. Yes, your typical lead gen, which is just there about high conversion rates, building credibility very quickly. And that's exactly what they do. So there's lots of elements that we would expect to see on a site like National Accident Helpline, for example, the Trustpilot reviews, the credibility triggers, the nice bright CTAs, the friendly imagery. I really love this way that they've got of segmenting out their visitor to help them find the section that's most relevant for them on the site as well, which is fantastic. They've got tons of content. Here's their divorce lawyers, divorce solicitors page. With a good amount of information. And then we've got all of this supplementary content as well. This is what we call a knowledge base, where each of these are linked to articles about particular topics within this section. We'll come back to SEO in a minute, but this is absolutely, the technical industry term is, this is banging. This is amazing. This is exactly what we would want to see. For me, this is the almost, in many ways, the ultimate sub-page. Now, one of my issues, and I have very, very few issues with this, is that the call to action on this page could be way stronger. So they are divorce solicitors. What am I supposed to do next? Well, I could click contact us, but much better would be some kind of nice CTA box, which just collected my details, a bit like National Accident Helpline, that said, if you've got an issue, if you want to talk to one of our divorce solicitors team, fill in your information here, we'll contact you or arrange a free consultation or something like that. So the fact that there is nothing like that is a bit of a shame. They do have generic contact us online things, but there's no incentive to do that. There's no explanation of what's going to happen next, and I have to go to a separate page for it. So, who wins the best website round? Well, for me, Slater and Gordon, this is a sick, ridiculous, amazing website, but they've just been pipped to the post by National Accident Helpline because these CTAs on subpages are a little bit weaker. Kirkland and Ellis haven't even woken up. They're still in bed at the hotel. They haven't even come to the fight yet. So we'll see if they're able to redeem themselves later on. Okay, let's move on and have a look at SEO then. So with cost per click on Google Ads, so much for legal terms, in some cities and some places in the world, legal terms are the most expensive CPCs that you'll spend anywhere. Divorce, that type of thing can be a really high case value. Personal injury claims, 18-wheeler claims over in the US have ridiculously high CPC, sometimes over $100, $150. So SEO is inevitably hotly contested in legal everywhere in the world. So let's see how these monsters stack up. First up, we're going to look at National Accident Helpline. Now we can see they're driving a reasonable amount of traffic. Here I am in SC ranking. You can get a free trial of this at bestninjatool.com. We can see that their visibility, or the amount of traffic that they're picking up, has been pretty steady but increasing slightly over the years, but they've been putting a lot of energy into SEO over a long time. We can see they're ranking pretty well. We got some decent visibility for phrases like personal claims, injury, accident of car, position 2, lawyers for injury, position 1, personal injury claims, position 1. Now, this is high ranking stuff. This is incredibly competitive, not huge for search volume, but decent CPCs. So this is really the creme de la creme in the personal injury space, is ranking for these sorts of terms, which is fantastic. And that's what they've got. They've got some sub-pages. In fact, they've got plenty of different sub-pages ranking really hard. If we just take out their branded search terms, then we can see they're doing really well for no win, no fee type claims as well. They tend to be doing better for claims terms than solicitors terms in general. Here we're looking at the solicitors terms. If we have a look at the claims terms, we'll see they tend to have more visibility there. Possibly because they are actually running claims rather than actually offering solicitors. The solicitors are kind of separate outside of the business, but whatever. One of the great things about National Accident Helpline is they have a lot of pages working very hard for them. One of the indications that we have a well-optimized site is that the homepage won't be forced to pull lots of the weight. So here we have the top trafficked organic ranking pages, and we can see that the homepage is all the way down here in position, whatever that is. So they've got lots of other pages on the site which are ranking well and bringing in loads of traffic, which is generally a good sign that the site has been well optimized. If we move on to have a look at their links, we can see they've got a few links, 2,100 referring domains. Honestly, I would have expected this to be a little bit higher, but we can see that some of these links are reasonably good quality. We can see we've got some high authority publications, stuff like, FT, my favorite publication in the world. We've got some PR stuff here as well. We can also see evidence of careers focused stuff. So these university links, obviously university links bring in a lot of authority. A lot of businesses in this sort of space where legal can be very difficult to get really top level links from university sites. A lot of them will use things like student case studies, alumni case studies, or careers openings, or they'll give career talks or whatever in order to get the links, and we can see some evidence of that here. So decent link profile, maybe not as high as we would have expected. Let's have a look at Kirkland. Now we've obviously already rinsed their homepage title, so I'm not expecting a huge amount with their SEO, and unsurprisingly, they got some branded traffic. Let me just take out the non-branded stuff. Now, obviously, being the size that they are, and also Kirkland being a phrase that's used by others, for example, I think Walmart own brands in the US are also Kirkland, so there's going to be a lot of mixed up traffic there. But if we take out the branded traffic, we can see that really they're not ranking particularly well for too much of this at all. Most of their ranking seems to be coming from their team. Now, this is kind of interesting because actually they do have a really high profile team. If we have a look at their top pages, we'll see that it is mostly their team. We've got some press releases and stuff like this, which is driving the traffic. And what can you say about that? They've got a really high profile team. For example, this guy is a former US Solicitor General and he now works for Kirkland. So he's generating loads of traffic for his brand name essentially, and it's coming through to the Kirkland site. But other than that, they're not ranking for any sort of non-branded high commercial terms at all, as we wouldn't expect, right? Because the website is total garbage from an SEO perspective. So whilst the site is generating some decent traffic, overall we're going to give this a digital marketing fail, because if it wasn't for the branded traffic which they're getting through their high profile team, and that's not necessarily a sustainable strategy for most businesses, then this will be a very, very low traffic website. Okay, let's take a look at Slater and Gordon. So here we have their organic traffic. Now, decent search volumes here. They're working across more niches than National Accident Helpline. What I've done is I've just excluded their branded search terms, so we can just see what they're ranking for non-branded, and we can see some really good visibility here across loads of the different niches that they work. So we've got a mixture of emissions claims, we've got employment stuff, we've got that's not doing particularly well. No win, no fee, which is a high commercial intent term. We've got criminal lawyers. So they're ranking across a whole range of terms. Let's look at personal injury. So I'm just going to include personal injury here. And one thing that they've done really nicely here is they've got subpages underneath the personal injury claim page. So for example, here we have personal injury compensation Scotland, which will then rank for personal injury claims Scotland phrases. Others that we've got here, personal injury law UK. We have this one for accidents whiplash. So we've got these, what they've identified is that we want to rank for personal injury, but there's loads of sub phrases underneath this, and then they've created child pages underneath their personal injury page to rank for all these kind of sub and variation terms. So it's a really, really smart strategy. Now, they've also got some decent links, and there's some history of newsjacking. If we go over to our friends over at the FT, we can see here, for example, that they've got some old press releases from things like 2016 or blog posts from 2016 where they're piggybacking on trending topics around David Cameron inheritance tax in order to pick up links from high profile publications. And it looks like what they've done is they've put their lawyers to work talking on these sorts of topics, which is really, really sensible. They've also been involved in some really high profile cases. For example, here was one about ethical veganism and whether that is it's a human right. And we can see they've picked up a link from the Washington Post as a result, because they've been involved in something that was kind of, you know, established a new principle or you know, whatever it's called in law. So that tends to get a lot of attention as well. Now, in some ways, this is a self-fulfilling prophecy because you get visibility, then you start to pick up these larger cases, which helps you get more and more visibility. But it's great to see that they are doing a good job of them promoting this and using that, because you don't pick up these links by accident. You have to go out there, you have to push them onto publications. You have to say, have you seen that this has happened? And then link through to something on your website. So they've done a really good job of this. So who wins the SEO round? Well, for me, Slater and Gordon wins it because they have more traffic. They have a much broader range of keywords that they're ranking for, not just personal injury, and they are doing a fantastic job with their link profile. Kirkland, still asleep, hasn't woken up yet. Hopefully they're going to wake up in our next round, which is pay-per-click. So pay-per-click advertising, whilst expensive for these sorts of terms, is a really solid avenue for digital marketing for legal firms. The reason that pay-per-click is so expensive is because there is money to be made. So that shows you that there is, you know, competition. The other great thing about pay-per-click for law firms is that most of the competitors in your local space will be dross. So you're competing against people who maybe aren't optimized or aren't tracking anything at all. Competing against people who aren't tracking anything can be deadly if they're just throwing money into a black hole. But often they're just, you know, they're driving through to really poorly optimized landing pages. So if you're even 5% smart, then you can usually beat them. Both National Accident Helpline and Slater and Gordon are running really aggressive campaigns across all of the phrases that they are possibly relevant for. So I'm not going to look at the phrases that they're ranking for. What I wanted to do instead is focus on the landing pages that they're driving to. National Accident Helpline, really aggressive campaign, and I really love the landing pages that they're driving through to. So here we have a very kind of, this is a landing page about a public liability claim. I think that's the keyword that this was targeting. So they're targeting people that have had an accident in public, and this landing page is entirely about this. We can see here, this is a dedicated PPC landing page. They are driving through to specific PPC landing pages, not just through to the service pages on their website, which is kind of interesting. I'm not entirely sure why they're doing that, but whatever. It means that they can drive people to a page which has been optimized to receive cold traffic without any prior knowledge that these people won't have gone through the homepage. They're coming in completely cold. So we can see that they're using lots of the elements that they have on their homepage. For example, this massive amount of credibility, the different ways that people can start making their claim and all that type of stuff. We've also got this great call to action as well. We've got a very, very, very straightforward headline, which gets straight to the point, exactly what the person is here to do. And then we've got this kind of benefits, kind of removing objections copy here, which is great as well. They're also answering objections, removing any possible fear from people too. Good job. Good, solid landing page. Kirkland, over to you. Okay. Kirkland, are you there? All right. Oh, well, no pay-per-click. But to be honest, would you be running pay-per-click to this site? Nope, me neither. All right, so on we go. Let's look then at Slater and Gordon. Slater and Gordon also have some really decent landing pages. They're a very aggressive ad campaign. However, their landing pages aren't quite perfect, if I'm gonna be so bold. The main reason, because this headline actually really kind of upsets me, because we were testing these sorts of headlines in the legal space in about 2016, and we found that start your claim is really suboptimal in legal. Why? Because it's too high commitment. I don't know if I've got a claim yet. I need to find out, I need to talk to somebody first. So I'm surprised that they are doing this. These are PPC only pages. This isn't the CTA that they're using around the rest of the site. Yeah, I'm honestly surprised that they're doing this. I'm surprised they're asking for email and telephone and requiring both. Usually we would say that they could, you know, you'd have one or the other. I'm also surprised that they don't have some of the credibility that they have on their homepage. For example, the Trustpilot, the faces, the kind of personal side of things. That seems to have disappeared. We have to scroll much further down below the fold to see that, and we've already been asked to convert before we'd see any of that stuff. So it's kind of redundant down there. So yeah, for me, on pay-per-click, National Accident Helpline wins it. It's getting close. I think National Accident Helpline has 1, Slater and Gordon have 2. So let's see where we get to in our final round. So now we're actually going to look at social media ads. We're not going to analyze them on organic social, because honestly, analyzing law firms on organic social is like analyzing babies on their ability to run marathons. It's really just not something that is massively suited. You know, you're not going to be following National Accident Helpline on Facebook. no matter how much you love accidents. It's just not going to happen. So social ads are really where it's at, and that's how these businesses are going to monetize social media. So let's have a look at what they're doing now. Facebook. We can see here that National Accident Helpline, they've got one ad that was launched in December 2021. I'm filming this in January 2021. And then we can see that we've got some ads running since September. So usually if an ad for a business like this has been running for 4 months, then we can assume that it's performing reasonably well. My suspicion is that these are retargeting ads that are targeting people who've already been on the website because they're offering a softer call to action, which is the compensation calculator, i.e. find out how much you can claim, which by the way is the perfect call to action in this market. We've tested it. So the fact that they've got this compensation calculator is a big win. The fact that they're running retargeting ads for it is brilliant. I'm assuming they're retargeting ads because you wouldn't normally run cold ads with that. And then we can see that they've got this kind of seasonal campaign as well. Now, the fact that they don't have very many ads makes me think that this isn't a big priority for them. They're primarily search focused, which does make a lot of sense. Kirkland, you won't be surprised to know they are not running any Facebook ads. And Slater and Gordon even aren't running any Facebook ads, which does surprise me because even retargeting, you know, you would have thought that that's a very straightforward thing to do. If you're spending so much money to get someone on the site in the first place, why not spend a little bit more to retarget them once they've left the site through Facebook? So there we have it. The best legal firm in digital marketing. Well, this battle, National Accident Helpline slightly pips Slater and Gordon. National Accident Helpline, fantastic at marketing. They're essentially a marketing business, it's lead generation. Slater and Gordon are doing superbly well with their digital marketing, considering that they also have to run a legal firm. I would put them really far up there with the best lead generation companies out there. But even this analysis shows that they have more meat on the bone. There is more opportunity for them to generate even more business through their digital marketing. Kirkland, they haven't left the starting grid. So what can we learn from this? Well, the fact that Kirkland is the biggest law firm in the world and isn't really doing any digital marketing at all shows us that you can build a big firm without digital marketing. But the success of other firms in this space, like National Accident Helpline, like Slater and Gordon, also shows that with great marketing, you can also build a great firm. So I am waiting for someone like Kirkland to take the digital marketing power of someone like Slater and Gordon. Boom, babies. Let's see what happens. So I hope you've enjoyed this whistle-stop tour of the first law firm digital marketing shootout. Let us know what your favorite law firm is in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. If you like this sort of thing, we're often posting 3 videos a week. And like this video if you want to see more of these sorts of digital marketing shootouts. Until next time, see you soon.